Greetings, peace, and blessings. Welcome back to Unexplained Mysteries Tarot. This is part 3 of me shopping my collection to find decks that I feel would lend themselves to being very helpful for readings about mysterious phenomena, the supernatural, paranormal, all of those things. So I've gone through another portion of my shelf and have pulled off some decks that I really think would be great at these types of readings. So let's go ahead and get into it. First up is the Mermaid's Purse Oracle. This was created by Olivia Rose. I forget how I found this deck. She also has the tarot deck, the Mind's Eye Tarot. These are both really beautiful, very alien-esque, and I think they would actually be great. So this is the Mermaid's Purse Oracle. So there's the message card. I like the artwork. You can see the images look very otherworldly and just different. So I think that this would be a wonderful deck to use. I love the colors. I love the lines. There's sacred. It lends itself to exploration. And one more card is there's Begin. And I love that it's kind of mermaid themed. There's the Wisdom card. I love the colors. I just think it's very interesting. It's a very different and unique deck. So I think it would be great to use in these types of readings. The next is her tarot deck. And again, same thing, very beautiful artwork. These cards are really beautifully made. There is the backs of the cards, beautiful gilded edges. There is the Fool. There's the Magician. I don't think I've read with these yet because they're still in order. There's the Eight of Wands. But yeah, it feels like you're stepping into another dimension with this deck. I think it's just a really beautiful deck to work with. There's the Five of Swords. The line detail, the colors, the figures, I think are just really beautiful. There's the Two of Pentacles. I thought I may have done like a review for this deck, but if not, then it's okay. One will be coming pretty soon. There's the Page of Cups. I love the mermaid theme. It's just really beautiful and unique and different and supernatural in and of its own right. So I thought that this would be a very beautiful addition to do readings with. So these two, I think, would definitely be at the top of my to-use list. Next up is the Celestial Botanical Oracle. I completely forgot that I had this deck. This is by the same creator of the Tarot of the Celestials that I shared in part 2. Look at these beautiful pink gilded edges. So each card has a botanical ally. So this one is ochre. And then there is like a statement or description. So this one says, awaken your magical powers. So you can see the plant there. It still has the same like moon people on them. There's Roman chamomile, one of my favorites. This is Fly Agaric, beware of deceitful toxicity. So again, this is very cosmic. I think it's a beautiful deck. There's Wolfbane. It says poisonous surroundings. And I think this would be a great oracle deck to use in addition to, you know, for doing these types of readings. Valerian, Calm Down. Just because it's in a different landscape. It has that very cosmic feel. And it's unique. I like that it doesn't feature people. And it just kind of has these moonscapes. Look, there's lavender. Calm your mind. I love lavender too. So yeah, I think this is a really great deck, very well made, and I like the artwork. It is the same theme as their Celestials, Tarot of the Celestials deck, which I don't know where I put it back at, but it's somewhere. And I think that would be a really good oracle deck to use. Going through my collection like this and like pulling off the decks that would be great for these readings has been super helpful because, like I said, I've found decks that I've not touched in a very long time, things that I have forgotten about. And it's also making me think outside of the box about different readings that I want to do. And the way that some of these decks can also be used for other readings. So who knows, maybe I'll do different series for like different types of readings. I would love to do one for wellness, just because I do a lot of wellness readings for people and for myself, and share those decks with you also. But moving right along, I pulled the Spacious Tarot by Carrie Mallon and Annie Ruget. And this is basically like a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. There's the Ace of Cups. But there was something about it that was like, I think this might work too. The Nine of Cups. It's a very peaceful deck. There's the Chariot. And like even looking at the Chariot, I feel like it's, I don't know, this deck I feel like takes you on an adventure through places for some reason. That's the Devil. There is the Fool. So it's very focused on landscapes, nature. There's the Elder of Pentacles. So there's a bear standing there with a pentacle at the base of a mountain. And like I said, I think it's different. And the fact that there aren't really people cards, there's strength. I think that this would be really good because especially if you're in tune with nature, and I've noticed a lot of the decks that I have pulled have been like nature-based decks. I feel like we can get so much information from Mother Nature and the earth around us. So maybe, I don't know, I think that this would be a good one to try out and see. I had another deck that was very heavily based in nature. I can't think of the name of it, but I didn't pull those off the shelf, and I think it was because they were, I don't know, but this one wanted to come. So that's why I pulled it off, and I think it may be a good fit for some of the readings that I do. Next up is a fave, one that I was like a daily user or striver or deck. It's the Superlunaris Tarot. This was created by, hold on, let me look at the guidebook. This was one, I don't know who created it, but it's the Superlunaris Tarot. I believe it is available on Etsy, and I think they came out with a second edition. I like this deck because it's, again, it's a Rider-Waite clone, but there's just something different and magical about it. So here we have the Page of Pentacles. There's the Two of Pentacles. There's Death. Got the Ace of Cups. This deck has like a very surreal feeling for me. And there's the Eight of Swords, which I think is like, wow. They're sitting down on the train tracks, dressed in all black, with swords acting as a barrier around them. Like, just, I feel like this deck was very intentional, and I love the artwork. There's the Queen of Pentacles. So yeah, this was one that I used a lot. There's the Devil. And I think just because of the tone, like this is a darker deck, and just the way the artwork is, I think it would be a really, really great deck to use for these types of readings. Like I said, I love the art. Got the Ten of Wands. yeah, so this one was definitely one that I thought of that would be great for these types of readings as well. Next, we have the Deep Place Oracle by Ray Serafina Parker. I love the name Serafina. This deck is ethereal, it is surreal, it is very dreamy. So here we have Seedling. Oh, and these are the backs of the cards. And then they've got pretty gold edges. I love gilding. I really do. There's Wonder. So you can see how like these are very like mystical and would lend themselves really well to like paranormal, like spirit readings, that type of thing. This is the Haunted Place. We've got Vastness. As Above, So Below. There's the Forgotten Place. So this deck has a lot of different card meetings, fullness. Oh, and one of the things that I've decided that I'm going to do is to create my own little paranormal oracle deck. So I'm really excited about that. That's something that I'm going to work on. It's probably not going to be anything super artsy, but it'll just be a fun project for me. Next deck is Tarot of the Divine. And I chose this deck. I don't know, it's something about the art that I felt like might be good at these types of readings, just because it does pull from so many like different cultures and things like that. So you've got the Two of Wands, the Magician, the High Priestess, the Moon. Trying to find like other types of cards. We've got the Eight of Wands. These are still somewhat in order. There's the Eight of Coins. Which is very interesting because like you can see her feet. It's like these things have thorns. So it's like she's hurting herself as she's working on them. Her feet and her hands, you know, have the red to indicate pain. And then she's crying. That is such an interesting depiction of the Eight of Coins. But I guess hard work is hard work. And there is the Ace of Wands. I haven't really read with this deck that much, if at all. But I just thought this would be interesting to use. And even if it's not one that I choose to use on a regular basis, I think it would still be fun to do some readings with it and just see what comes up as I'm working with it. Which one do I want to do next? Okay, I'll go with this deck. This is the Neopets Tarot. I used to play Neopets in my younger days. And I chose this deck just because it is different. It's cartoonish. It's these mystical kind of creatures. There's the Fool. I have not read with this deck. This is one I found on Amazon and was just like, oh, I really would like to add this to my collection. Seven of Wands. It does feel like it might be a little too whimsical in a fun way, but I think it may come in handy for certain types of readings. There's the Six of Swords. Let's see. Five of Cups. So I feel like this might be useful if we're, I don't know, exploring another realm or something like that. Judgment. So yeah, this is just a cute, fun deck that I thought, just because it's based off of like kind of, you know, just a different universe, a different realm. I thought maybe it would come in handy for those types of readings also. The next deck that I want to share is Ciro Marsetti's Tarot of Dreams. I shared another one of his decks, and I think the deck is actually in here. Yes, I found it. So I realized the box was empty. So Tarot of Dreams, like I said, I really appreciate the artwork that in Ciro Marsetti's cards because it is very dreamy. There's the Palace of Coins. I feel like did this have extra decks? I mean, cards in it? Yeah, it's 83 cards. So these palaces, so each of the court cards has a palace card to it as well. Just extended. There's the Devil. And some of the art reminds me of the Raven Phelan's deck, the Dreams of Gaia Tarot. There's the King of Swords. Got the Seven of Cups. Five of Wands. So I just really like the way that these are depicted. There's the Ten of Swords. I think that this deck would lend itself really well to readings about mysterious and curiosities. There is the Eight of Cups, which I think is really amazing. It's like walking into another dimension. So that is the Tarot of Dreams. I also like that the cards also have the astrological placement and elemental placements on them too. That extra bit of information. Okay. Next are two decks that I absolutely love. Both are by James R. Eads. It is the Cosmovisions Tarot. Excuse me, this is the Prismavisions Tarot. These decks were like definite yeses because of the artwork. I think that these are they just draw you in and I think can add depth to any type of reading. There's the Strength card. Got the High Priestess. I feel like the art is very unique and it just makes it easy to interpret and pick up on different information. There's the Ten of Wands. This was a favorite and I used this deck so much. Like some of these cards are definitely worn out. There's the Eight of Pentacles. And there's the Tower. I think that these were very, very beautifully designed decks. But out of the Prismavisions Tarot, my favorite is actually the Cosmovisions. And why is because, look at the box. That's not why, but just look at it still. But why is because this deck was created to follow the journey of a soul in the afterlife, essentially. And so there were some extra cards that I purchased because I feel like that was like another Kickstarter. So I've got these extra cards that I can add. But yeah, so this deck I would absolutely use because it's kind of like the soul goes on this journey once they are released from their physical body. And I think that this would actually be a really great deck to read with. So we've got the Protector. Oh, there's the back of the deck. Five of Lotuses. There's the Mystic. And I love like the court cards because they're different characters that you may, could interact with. And the art again is just really beautiful. There's a bigger guidebook that really details both of these decks, the Prisma and the Cosmovisions, and it just adds additional information. There's the Swan, which would be the High Priestess. So yeah, the court cards are, not the court, the majors are renamed. So that's life on earth. So this would be the world. So the soul has gone through its journey and now they are about to reincarnate. So I feel like for maybe mediumship readings or communicating with energy bodies or energetic beings, that this deck might be really helpful. This is one of my favorite, the Soulmates card, which would technically be the Lovers. We've got the Four of Embers. This is a deck that I would really love to do a tarot study on, just to really understand and really integrate the intention of its creation and really understand how to work with it in a way that really just brings that story of the afterlife and what happens to a soul and the soul's journey into readings. Since I have them out, I will share these extra cards. And I thought about combining the two decks or using one, right? So if this is life and the other deck is like afterlife or spiritual energy, to have conversations with both and just see what comes up. But yeah, so there's Reverie, Illumination, the Winged Boar, Tiny Elephants, the Gift, and Strawberries. So those were some, like, I guess an expansion pack. But definitely this deck, the Cosmovisions, it's technically an oracle, but definitely working with this, it can be read as a tarot or oracle, but I believe the creator made it an oracle because it doesn't, though it operates in the same way as tarot, it's kind of its own thing. And so it's very beautiful. And I love with his decks that if you put the suits all together, it makes a panoramic picture. So you can kind of see the entire journey. And that's also within this deck as well. I really appreciate his art and the decks that he's created. They're really beautiful. Next up is one that's newer to my collection. I would say I've gotten more recently, is the Artist Decoded Tarot. This one I chose because, one, I love art. Two, when I look at these cards, it kind of feels like you're stepping into the art in a way. And I thought that might lend itself to be very helpful in these different types of readings. So there's the backs of the cards. So I haven't read with this deck yet, but there's the Fool. And again, it feels otherworldly. It's just different. It's unique. And I think those types of decks or those types of art would be more helpful when reading things that are kind of obscure. There's the Wheel of Fortune. There's the Eight of Wands. And I got this deck because I was an artist. I don't dabble in art in the same way that I used to. I used to have an art studio. I had a ton of original artwork that I created using different mediums. I loved oils were my favorite. I loved oil painting. I also worked with watercolors and acrylics and pastels and gouache and all the things and stretched my own canvas. So this deck really spoke to me and I was like, I really want this deck. I appreciate the art. I think it's really beautiful. And like I said, I think just because there's so much abstractness in it that it would do great in the readings that I'd like to do. So that is the Artist Decoded by Jennifer Sidoni and Yoshino. Very beautiful deck. Next up was a fun deck that is just a mishmash. So this is the alchemize tarot, and it has a ton of cards that are all different. And I thought this would be great just because there are cards like this. Some of them don't even have names. I think there's a guidebook, but I like the randomness of the cards because there's not really a set structure. Like there's multiples of certain types of cards. Like there could be 5 different string cards. I don't even know which way this is supposed to be read, which side is the back or the front. So that's fun. Oh, yeah, I don't know. This pixelated tarot card. We've got a Queen of Pentacles. So I think just because there's such a variety in cards that it would just make sense to use this deck. I don't think it makes sense to use it in like daily readings just because it's so, look at this star card. This is absolutely beautiful. I love this. I don't know what deck this came from or who created it. Even the back of this card is amazing. I would love to have this entire deck. I feel like this is the first time I've seen this card because there's so many. I'm trying not to drop them. And there's this, the gloaming. So I feel like this was created by different, they're sliding everywhere. Different deck creators contributing a card. And I'm pretty sure there's an index where I can look and see who made what. And then there's this card. But yeah, I just think it's so different and unique. And like I said, sometimes I can't tell what's the back from the front. So I think this would be fun to use just because it is different. It has a ton of different cards, different types of artwork, images that I would not see in a regular tarot deck that may spark a little, something different coming through for a reading. So yeah, that is the alchemize tarot, which is like a hodgepodge of decks that were put together. One of these days I will be brave and start to combine my own decks like this because I have enough of them where I could make plenty of combo decks, or I don't even know what they're called, just these massive decks. I've thought about doing that with like all of my Doreen Virtue decks, just making one massive deck to read with. I think that might be very interesting and fun. So I don't know if that's something that you have done. I would love to see I would love to see like readings with those. And I know there are creators who may have like 2 of the same oracles, and I've done that with my Manifesting Oracle deck by Abiola Abrams. I have 2 of these, so I just kind of combined both of them together for one deck. I don't know. I gotta sit with that for a little bit. Okay, the next deck we have is the Midnight Magic, a tarot deck of mushrooms by Sarah Richard. I have not yet read with this deck. There's the back of the cards. This would look so pretty with either brown or black edges. Yeah. Mushrooms are this amazing network of information that develop beneath our feet. They are so magical and mystical. There was this documentary I watched about mushrooms. I can't think of the name of it. I feel like it was on Netflix. If I think of it, I will put it somewhere. And they're just so fascinating. So, and they're mysterious in their own right as well. So I thought it might be interesting just to see, you know, what this deck may bring to a reading. So there is the Fool. There's the Wheel of Fortune. There's the Nine of Wands. I'm curious to see if the guidebook shares like any additional information as far as why the mushroom was placed with a particular card, or if it was just put the art on the card and that's what it is. So there's the Nine of Cups. There's the Ten of Cups. We've got the Six of Swords. And there's the Two of Pentacles. I forget why I got this deck. I feel like there was a reason, or maybe I was just like, oh, let me add this to my collection. Yeah, so okay, so it does seem like the creator intentionally chose the mushrooms, which I think makes this even more beautiful. So I was looking, I just opened it up to the Queen of Wands, and it's the luminescent Pinellus. And it says that the luminescent Pinellus glows with an ethereal green light while perched in the high thrones of deciduous trees. Representing the Queen of Wands, this bioluminescent mushroom shares the same authority and charm as the vigilant matriarch. So yeah, they did consider that, from what I can tell, which I think is awesome. I wanted to see, yeah, there are some spreads in here, just like general spreads, but yeah, I think this would be really awesome to explore and use in these readings, just to see what type of information it may provide. So I've got 7 more to go. This was one I picked. I'm not sure why. It's the Healer's Dream Oracle by, I don't know. Doesn't say. Let's see. Honestly, I may or may not use this deck, but there's the backs of the decks. Little gilding there. So this is just like a really, just honesty, crossroads. I think this might be an okay oracle to use. Compassion. I like that the art is unique. It doesn't really follow a set like theme. There's Believe. We've got the Tower. We've got Good Fortune. Got the chakra cards here. There's Ceremony. So I think this actually may be a really good oracle to use just because it is different. It has a lot of different cards that could bring information into a reading. There's Transformation. There's Mother Earth. Yeah, so I think I could work with this. It seems like a very broad oracle that can shed some light on things. Yeah, I don't know where this deck came from or who created it. There's not a guidebook with it, but that was the Healer's Dream Oracle. Let me take some water. Whew. Next up is the Soul Trees Ascension deck. This is an 80 card deck by Allison Williams Yee. I believe this was an Etsy find as well. There's the back of the cards. So I think it's just a good oracle that for any reading base, really. There's self-care. There's value. Authenticity. And I feel like I get more messages from the artwork necessarily than I do the actual keyword that's on the card, because some of them may or may not really resonate to me. So like this is momentum, but I kind of get that because the paint is moving and mixing together. Like spirit, I get that too, because I can see like spirit emerging. Subtle energy. But yeah, like looking at these, I do feel this deck would be great. Like here's the overthinking card. And one more, infinite. I like the color choices. I like the variety. I think this would be a great deck to read with, just because again, like the trees to me are very spiritual, and of course they also have knowledge and wisdom. So I think that this would be a great deck to use in these types of readings too. Okay, another deck that I pulled off is the Mystic Mondays Tarot. This was one that I thought I needed to have or just really wanted, and then I got it and never really used it. So I thought maybe I could use it for these types of readings, just to put it to use and work with it some more. So we've got the Fool, Two of Pentacles. Do I have them upside down? I do. There's the Ten of Wands. This could possibly be a deck that I'd be okay with parting with. Temperance, but it does have this, I don't know, just this different feel to it because of the art. It's like, even though it's kind of flat, it still like has dimension and depth, which is something that I do like. So there's the Ace of Pentacles. But yeah, so I don't know. I'll probably try this deck out just to see, you know, how does it read? There's what, the Six of Cups. And I have her, I think she had like an astrology deck too. But yeah, that's the Mystic Mondays Tarot, which I love the colors. I think the colors are very bright and vivid, but the art doesn't always do it for me. This is one of those kind of, I just want it in my collection. There's the Nine of Cups. Oh, I feel like some of the dust that I'm knocking off my decks is getting in my nose. Next is the Astro Matrix Tarot. This was a find on good old Amazon. I love the artwork when I saw this deck, and so that's what made me get it. So there's the Justice card. Got the Page of Swords. There's the Fool. Eight of Pentacles. Four of Swords. So it's a Rider Waite Smith variant. Just, I guess, more modern, more updated. Seven of Pentacles. And there's the Nine of Swords. See, I think this would be an interesting deck to use also. I do like the quality of the cardstock and how it's like has that matte finish, which makes it easy to show the cards. Next up is the Alchemistical Tarot. This deck I absolutely love and adore. It is a 92 card deck, and this was created by Sarah Roberts. I want to say, was this on Kickstarter? I think so. So this has an additional suit, which I think is the suit of Spirit. The art, I feel like, just really speaks for itself in a sense that it is kind of mystical and magical and spiritual, ethereal, like all of those things. That's the Seven of Water. And I love the size of the cards. These are like pretty chunky, like more of oracle size. That's Judgment. Nine of Earth. I would like some more. There's Three of Water. More decks that are a little more like dark or shadow based. There's the Alchemist of Earth. But I still have really good options to choose from. So if I don't go and buy another deck. Did I buy another deck? I don't know. Oh, I did get, there was the Ghosts and Spirits Tarot. It was like a US Games deck. So that's the only one that I've added to my collection. My intention is to not buy any more decks right now. That will put me at 444. So I feel like that's a good number to like stop at. Okay, so we're down to my final two. These are both decks by Robin Boyce. We have the Tarot of Oneness. And I like this card because of the perspective and just the way that everything is like kind of brought together. So there's the Fool. I have not read with this deck yet. Got the Magician. It's like the magic is in your hands. Backs of the cards. Seven of Cups. I love that there's a dragon up there. Four of Pentacles. I like this because it gives you a different perspective. Like in this card, we have the perspective of the squirrel who is collecting and hiding his nuts. And in the Five of Pentacles, like it's like you can put yourself in that person's shoes. So if I'm doing a reading and the Five of Pentacles comes up, it almost like I feel cold and I feel like, I don't know, it gives me a different feeling seeing it from this perspective. There's the Six of Pentacles. Again, it like puts you in the card. And I think that's really beautiful because I think in the guidebook she talked about like how everything is connected, right? It's the Tarot of Oneness. So it kind of helps you see from a different perspective and really connect with the energy. Like there's the Four of Swords. It's very interesting reading with this card, with this deck. There's the Inspiration of Swords. Because it almost takes you on a journey. Even like with the Fool, it's like you're right there on the cliff. It's not that I'm watching a person on the cliff. It's like I am on the cliff. So that's something that I really appreciated about this deck. The next deck is her Glow Oracle. Again, Robin Boyce. And I loved this because it is so unique and it explores these different creatures that glow. So I think this would be a really great oracle to use. So there's an abalone shell, an Atolla jellyfish, and not to mention like these are sea creatures. Look at the sea turtle. I love turtles. Look how beautiful it is. Oh. We've got a horseshoe crab, mandarin duck. I find that reading with animal cards, because I have some animal tarot decks. There's a scorpion. Gives a different perspective too. Look at the beautiful blue on the backs of the cards. See, that's why I chose this, is because it has these different creatures or animals, I should say, in it. And I just thought it would make for a really good oracle deck to use in readings. So that was it. That is it for part 3. I haven't gone through these bins here. And then I have the top shelf to go through. So once I settle these babies back in that I've just shared with you, then I'll start perusing the rest of my collection. And hopefully there will only be a part 4. And then I still need to work on like a spread to get things kicked off and to start and see like what's going to unfold, what readings will come up, and just things like that, just to kind of have a little moment of connection with my intention and see like what the cards say about this. So thank you so much for tuning in to part 3 of my tarot and oracle decks that I think may be good for these mysterious and paranormal readings. I'm Jovhannah here at Unexplained Mysteries Tarot. I'm super excited to share my love of tarot and the curiosities and the magic and mysteries of life with you. Check the description box for more details and please subscribe. I'll see you soon. Peace.